Okay, so we first came up with PowerUp in one of our classes where we were inspired by a lot of the 12 to 14-year-old girls locally here in Boston. And June is a profile of one of these girls. So June is a girl in grade 6 attending Boston Public School. She recently developed a crush on her classmate Chris, but she's not sure what to do next with that crush. So June's best friend Jessica has suggested for her to ask him out, and June's really uncomfortable with that. Yet she's too scared to approach her mom about dating and boys. So basically June is left not knowing what to do, and that happens to millions of pre-adolescent girls across America. Okay. All right, so what we found in this age group are that most of these girls have incredibly low self-esteem, which lends them vulnerable to both their peer influence and media influence that has become sexually, highly sexualized over the last few years. In fact, in terms of their peers, half of these girls think that their peers are already sexually active. And again, these are only 12 to 14-year-old girls. So we really shouldn't be surprised that the activity in this field is trending younger and younger. We have some stats here to back that up. So percentage of pre-adolescents having sex continue to hover around 7%. Maybe what's more troubling is percentage of adolescents, these are teenagers, having unprotected sex is actually on the rise in the last couple of years, up to over 40%. In terms of mental health, because of the low self-confidence, we see that going back up to 17% for teenagers that are seriously contemplating suicide. So this is what we consider a major health crisis, both on the sexual health and the mental health side. And that's why we really want to address this issue. And currently in the marketplace, we don't really see that being addressed. So only 65% of schools provide any sex ed at all. And of those schools, only 40% of schools talk about condom use. And even though organizational programs are doing a great job, they still have limited reach and are unable to get to most girls in America, especially those who might need it the most. So that's how we came up with PowerUp, to try to increase that reach to girls all over the US by empowering them in a choose-your-own-adventure mobile game that teaches social-emotional learning, conflict resolution, and knowledge of health in a very fun and interactive way.
So I am going to take you through a quick demo of PowerUp. So the PowerUp mobile game, you'll be first presented with an intro screen where you can either start a new game or return to a current game or learn more about the organization or learn more about PowerUp and its purpose. Once you start a new game, you will be presented with a avatar creation screen. This screen will only pop up when you start a new game. It doesn't pop up ever again. There's another selection screen that occurs. But in this selection screen, you can choose the eyes, the hair, the face, and the clothes. And also you can name your avatar. So how it goes is you'll be presented with a map, and initially only a certain portion of the map will be clickable. So for this example, you would be at the local school. And then what you would do is you'll click on there and be presented with a scenario. And so it's a choose your own adventure scenario. And this is an important part where people can insert their own type of conversations and options that they want and scoring that they want in relation to that. So in this example, Rosie's being asked, let's party at your house, and she's presented with two options. She can either say I'm down or say I don't think so. So we're going to be a bit rogue and click I'm down. Uh-oh, what do we see here? Rosie has to clean up the mess of that party she just threw, and she seems panicked. So so one cool thing about PowerUp is that we'll be talking about social emotional learning and other related health background information through mini games, through Choose Your Own Adventure, and several other options. But for this focus of Google Summer of Code, we'll be focusing mostly on the conversation screen. Lastly, or second to last, once a user goes through a scenario and achieves a certain amount of karma points, he or she can use those points for hair, accessories, or clothes. In addition, they can increase their health and powers, which are here. Another cool thing about the game is that through a random generator or through association of what Rosie does, so keynote, this will have to do with the database, a certain type of Rosie's emotion will change based upon how she goes through the storyline. Points are never taken away, but they can be used for different things. So in that sense, they can be used, but they are never subtracted through a scenario. Another important aspect that will be a next feature is that Rosie can grow up. She starts at a young age, and to assist us in talking about puberty and things of that like, through various scenarios, Rosie will be growing up. But once again, this is a future feature that we'll be discussing. And this cool little icon here will take you back to the home or pause the game. So overall, we get to live the life of Rosie and see how she navigates her world, and also learn how to make better decisions, and also learn about, various health related facts and knowledge that will be helpful for any 12 to 14-year-old.
So at this point, I want to walk you through a little bit of the background on the game design itself and some of the formative evaluation that we did, and talk a little bit about our partnerships and where we see this app going in the future. So going to game design, this app didn't just come out of thin air. We worked a lot with making sure that the curriculum for the app and the character development was relevant and usable by 12 to 14-year-old girls. In terms of the curriculum, we are using some influences from Planned Parenthood and other organizations that already do reproductive health curriculum development. The reason for this being that people that have already developed some of this curriculum have done a good job of creating a solid groundwork, and what we're trying to do is create sort of an app version of some of this curriculum. On top of that, we want to make sure that our characters looked and felt like the kind of characters that 12 to 14-year-old girls would want to play with in a game, since obviously we want it to be relevant to that demographic. So when we say girl tested, girl approved, what we mean is we were able to get a focus group together of middle school girls who carefully vetted the characters and told us about some of the aspects of the game mechanics that they wanted to see. So that helped to influence the game design process. In terms of where we see this going in the future, our plan is to go through a dissemination pathway that starts with a grassroots campaign to start sort of testing the app in a smaller environment through local empowerment programs. The Boys and Girls Clubs of Boston and California are two options that we're pursuing. Then we're looking at connecting the PowerUp curriculum with the app in these local environments to test them out and to do some formative evaluation. And then finally, when we're ready to reach a broader audience, we're thinking of reaching out through Instagram and other social media outlets that teens are known to use. And in addition to that, we would obviously scale with organizations that would be willing to partner with us in this work. Then moving on from there, that kind of brings us into some of our partner outreach. We're thinking about working with some of the parent media organizations to get parental buy-in. Since we know that reproductive health is such a sensitive subject, we of course want to be sure that parents are informed as to what's going on in the app, and even bringing them into the game itself if necessary. On top of that, we're looking at funding options through some of these potential funders, including the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Planned Parenthood, the Clinton Foundation, other groups that would potentially be interested in using this app and furthering its reach. Those are all concepts. We haven't approached anyone yet, but that's sort of our thought process on that. In terms of impact assessment, we are looking at measuring efficacy. So we're looking at measuring 3 groups of tracking for pre and post awareness. We're thinking about starting with the Boys and Girls Club of Boston with their empowerment program and the PowerUp app. Then doing a control group of Boys and Girls Club with their own empowerment program, but without the PowerUp app, and a control group that are students that are not part of Boys and Girls Club and do not have access to the PowerUp app. And we would measure pre and post awareness tracking on areas of reproductive health. In terms of measuring reach, we would look for voluntary disclosure of age and gender prior to starting the game. Voluntary because we're trying to make sure that we're COPA compliant and that we're being respectful of student data privacy. Bringing this all back together, why does PowerUp ultimately matter? PowerUp is an app that's designed to raise awareness on reproductive health issues and to improve teens' abilities to make informed decisions about their lives. And as a result of all of these things, we're hoping that this app will help improve mental and physical health outcomes for teens as they move through the teen years and into adulthood. In conclusion, when we go back to June and PowerUp, if June were to get the PowerUp app, let's say, she would be able to see if she wants to ask out that boy and understand better what her choices are in terms of her reproductive health as a woman and as a person throughout her life. So as a result, we like to say that PowerUp helps to make the next generation of supergirls. And that leaves us to who run the world? Girls.
All right. So if you are still there, you made it. And that was our pitch. And once again, if you guys have questions, we're here for you. And hopefully we'll be meeting you soon. Next week we're graduating. So, woo! Can I shake the screen? Oh, party up here. All right, guys. So talk to you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.